from the southeast. So you can see right in through here. And then it's being met with sinking air, cooling air on the backside, and that's coming this way. So right at the leading edge of that, that's where we would have a tornado develop or in progress if that's in fact the case. It's a very well-defined hook. And so again, this not quite into the Crofton area, not quite into northwesternmost Christian County, but real close. And we actually have some people up in Caldwell County who can get us, who can watch us. So it's in their general area right now. Let's look at a few things. We can get into this storm and really dissect its threats. And so the first thing we look at is the potential threats within the storm outside of just the rain. And so it looks like we're getting potentially wind around 70, and that would be straight line damaging wind outside of the potential for a tornado. And then hail. Hail is the main concern tonight, and it looks like there's a big quarter of big hail, potentially quarter size hail, so 1 inch diameter hail, and a whole bunch of lightning. It's a very electrical storm. That's often what happens when you have big hailers. And that really looks to be the case tonight with the best chance of a hail from any of these storms. I think we'll have a lot of lightning and thunder. So it's focused around where that hail is, but it's certainly down back where we typically have some concerns for that tornado in that south and southwestern flank where we have that hook. So let's put it in motion. We'll do a storm track so you can get some timing. Again, there's Hopkinsville. Farther south, we've got into northwestern Middle Tennessee. There is Clarksville. Pardon me. So here's the movement for the last 45 minutes. And it's moving due east. I don't think I could draw a more straight east-west line than this storm is actually generating. Initially, we had the yellow box only, and that was a severe thunderstorm warning. And now the brand new one, that's the tornado warning, and that's the reason for that red box. So we zoom in. I don't want to get too tight here because I got to do a storm track. And so let's track this eastbound. And so there's the leading edge. Now, remember, this is the radar, and it's sweeping, and it's giving us a snapshot of this area at a point in time. So the storm is still moving. So when I track this thing, I'm not going to track right from where the tornado would be when its snapshot was taken. I'm going to sort of give it a little leeway here, track it east at about 30 or so, and then notice Crofton, 8 o'clock. Time now, 7:29. 7:29 Crofton, so you've got a little time. I wouldn't be messing around. I would just essentially make sure I've gathered my phone, my News 4 app, have that handy. I'd alert my entire family and say, hey, I'm going to my safe spot. Come with me. I would go, and that safe spot is always the lowest level of your house, away from windows. Now, for most of us, that's not a basement. For some of us, it's a basement, and for some of us, it's even a storm shelter. That's always going to be best. But if you don't have those options, then get to the smallest, most interior room in your house. So often that's like a bathroom or a closet. You don't want windows. You don't want, if you can avoid it, a room on an outside wall, because that leaves you more vulnerable. You want to just, tornadoes don't last very long as they come on through, so you want as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. Protect your body with pillows and blankets. Put a helmet on your head if you have bike helmets. Crofton, you still have 29, 30 minutes. So you could easily run to the garage, get the bike helmets if you don't have like a full frontal motorcycle helmet, which most of us don't, and get the whole family all protected. Now, sometimes I'm going to be looking down in this coverage and look at my phone sometimes because I'm getting alerts from both sides here. So I want to let you know I'm not looking away from you. I'm just gathering more information. But again, Nortonville, 8:07. We talked about Crofton, 8 o'clock. Kirkmansville, that's 8:27. So that begins to get into the westernmost side of Todd County. As we're talking about Clifty, that's in Todd County. That's at 8:38, and Powderly at 8:40. Now, whenever we're dissecting a storm, and I do want to say we continually get new pictures as the sweep comes on by, we get new data coming in. This looks even more impressive now. That hook looks even more tightly wrapped. Can you see that? I'm going to zoom in even more. You can see it right on the right side of your screen, right around Friendship in Caldwell County. So before, the hook just sort of looked like that, and now it's sort of hooking in even more. So it's the sinking air is wrapping in on the backside, indicating to us that maybe the circulation is tightening. Let's see how strong it is. And so we pull up rotation detector. We've got a couple of different options for this. Broaden out, and thankfully, this is not off the charts. You know, it's strong. 37 plus 46, you add those two together, we got 83 miles an hour of rotation. So it's strongly rotating, but it's not like the most intense we've ever seen, which is good. What we don't want to see is that circulation. So this is the wind essentially blowing away from the radar in the red and the wind blowing toward the radar in the green. We don't want to see that area of circulation tighten up. I'm going to back up the last, say, 30 minutes or so and follow that back to the west. And you can see it looks like it was more intense before. So that's a good trend. What street is that? When it was crossing, it looks like when it was crossing Katie's Road, who knows, it may have dropped a tornado. It's dark, and so we're not going to know until later on. But now, between Princeton and Hopkinsville, it's crossing Hopkinsville Road. There's a warning ring. That's an indicator to us that, yeah, we've got a very strong storm with some rotation, could be extending down toward the ground. And it looks like the edge of that rotation now sort of leaking into Christian County. Right there. So northwesternmost Christian County, it is now officially in our area. Tremendous lightning and thunder. Now, this is pretty rural up here. I've driven up and through here, coming back from southern Indiana. And so there's a ton of farms out here. But up and through here, there's also some houses, there's some roads, and there's a lot of hail. Right in through there. Let's take a look at how big this hail could be. And let's see here. Let's pull up these, just clicking on various buttons here. That's the one I wanted. Let me turn off the lightning. It's a little distracting. Clear this off, and then notice this hail. What size? Well, take a look. Could be as big as 2 inches. 1 inch diameter hail. That's a quarter. That's the size of a quarter. That is going to ding up a car. 2-inch hail may crack some windshields. That's how big this stuff is. And let's move that in progress from west to east. And you can see how it's mainly focused north of that tornado, a potential tornado, I should say, on the north side of Christian County. So let's go back again. Tornado warning if you're just joining us. Middle Tennessee in fantastic shape right now. Just to reset our coverage, we're on TV. The Voice, I know, is on television, sort of in the background right now, and we'll get you back to The Voice as soon as we can. But we do have this tornado warning to tell you about. Right now, it looks like the circulation is intensifying. When I, for a moment or a few minutes, don't see a threat anymore, we can go back to The Voice, but we don't have that opportunity as of yet. And so we're just going to hang on this and just give the coverage to the folks who need it right now. And that's our friends in northern and central sections of Christian County. So there's that warning ring that shows us that we have some circulation there. We look at this button, this sort of looks like a big old mess, and that's really what it looks like until we zoom in a little bit better. We're looking for cool colors. This is called debris detector to look for maybe some debris. We're looking for cool colors like the blues and the greens to match up with the maximum area of rotation. And so let me pull that up for you. And it's right in that general area. So who knows? We could be looking at a little debris here. We just don't know for sure. Again, it's dark. We haven't gotten any reports. I'm going to slide over here let's take the radar full because I got to slide over here and unlock a computer that's got some good data. So as soon as we do that, I'll sort of jump off camera and unlock that computer. But Crofton, it's coming into you pretty quickly. You can see Sinking Fork. A tornado watch continues. Thank you for 5 counties in our area until 1 o'clock in the morning. The only one in the mid-state is Henry County, and then the other 4 are Trigg, Callaway, Christian, and over toward Todd counties. So I'm looking for information that would lend me to think that we've got confirmation of this, and I don't have any as of yet. So good news, a whole bunch of, we can go back to the 2-shot if you like, a whole bunch of reports of hail. In fact, I can show you some of those. This is the broader view, so I'm going to widen out a little bit and go into the region just to show you, because hail is probably the biggest concern tonight. Let's see how many of these hail reports we see. Turn them on. Wow, look at all these yellows. So that storm, can you see these all yellow little round circles there with H's in them? Those are reports of hail. So Paducah got hail, the west side for sure, and a bunch of these storms back into Missouri. A bunch of hail. What's this tornado report right here? T. See if I can get that to come up. A tornado reported earlier tonight in Missouri. There's no more information than that. So again, tornado warning now, Christian County. That's why we're on wall-to-wall coverage. If you're just flipping on, you just got home, you just heated up dinner, and you're like, oh, I'm going to enjoy The Voice tonight. I hope that is the case. I hope we can get back to The Voice in a little bit, but we don't have that freedom right now because we have a very intense storm that's severe that's generating some severe hail and has prompted a tornado warning. So we don't issue the tornado warnings for this part of the area. These come from the National Weather Service in Paducah, Kentucky. And so that's the far northwestern reaches of our area. And that's why they sort of control those counties. And they put out this tornado warning. And that's in effect until 8 o'clock. You can see it plainly on your TV screen. Next in line is Crofton. Let's take a look at how far we are from Crofton. Again, this is just a snapshot of a moving storm. So I'm not going to take it from the middle of the circle. I'm going to cheat east a little bit, and it looks like it's only 10 miles away. I said before, this thing is moving at 30 miles an hour, so that means less than 20 minutes, about 20 minutes, whatever. It's going to be into Crofton. 7:37 is about to be the current time, coming up on that right now. Let's get an updated storm track for you. You've got to be in your safe spot, and then we'll go over those. Secure the safety measures again in a minute. So let's track this right from here, right over Crofton, moving east at about 30. Boom, right there. Hawkins, Crofton, 743 and 801, a big difference. So Hawkins is a little community. We said, hey, there's a whole lot of farms in through here, but a lot of people still live out there. They have homes, there's roads, and Hawkins, it's coming in on you right now. You've got to be in your safe space, Hawkins. 743 is what the time shows, but it really doesn't matter. It's go time for you, so hunker down. Don't panic. Panicking is the worst thing you can do. Just stay informed, stay alert. You know, hopefully your smartphone, whatever, crank up the TV loudly because you're catching me that way. I am also right now on the News 4 app, and I'm sure I'm on WSMV.com. If I wasn't on TV, I would actually verify that, but they're listening to me in the other room, and I know they've got that going already. So you've got multiple options to take me to the restroom, to the basement, to the closet, and stay informed as this thing's coming on through. Kelly at 8:04, Fruit Hill at 8:14. We've got it at Clifty now, 8:38. Again, we said before that's going to be Todd County, and Powderly at 8:42. All right, wow. So the radar signature, now we're getting, this is interesting. Now we're getting what we call a low-level lock. So a low-level lock, I know I'm getting a little scientific here, we can scan the storms at all levels of the atmosphere. And sometimes these little rings pop up. Do you see that right there? They pop up when we're seeing some rotation high above the ground. Now, I'm going to show you the high above the ground ones. There's the high above the ground one right there. And now I'm going to show you the one that's more significant close to the ground, and it's right there. You know, so I feel pretty confident we've got a tornado on the ground here. And that's why we're not going back to the voice, unfortunately, right now. You've got to be hunkered down. Let's go to those safety measures. Just a reminder, it's been a little while since we've had some really bad weather. So let's see. Well, we'll pull those up. Just give me a second here. We're pulling up the favorites. And that's essentially going to show what I showed you before. Good. We've got to, let's take a look at that first. This is video from Princeton, right in the heart of Caldwell County, Kentucky. And it looks like, this is from Instagram. You know, it's dark. That looks like hail. You know, I'm way back here. I'm seeing that the best I can, but that looks from my perspective, about 20 feet from this news camera, that we're seeing some hail there. And that doesn't look too good. That was probably, my guess is 30 minutes ago or so as the storm rolled through Princeton County, Kentucky. Thank you. Let's keep those views going. Hey, we've got these tornado precautions. Let's talk about that again. And I'm talking about Christian County, the northern third, maybe the northern half of Christian County. Not Hopkinsville. This is going to pass to your north. Definitely in Hawkins and definitely in Crofton. You've got to take shelter in the lowest interior room of your home. Protect your head from flying debris. That's the main concern in tornadoes. The main concern is that right there. You got to protect your head from flying debris because head trauma can really get you. So the tornado comes on through and it does its damage. Things fly through the air. If your head is protected, that's where the most important part of your body happens to be. The computer in your head, the brain. You protect that, you're going to 9 times out of 10 come out of it just fine, if not 99 times out of 100. Use pillows and blankets, a helmet. And then abandon a car, a mobile home as well. That's a terrible place to be. I know that sounds ridiculous. What do you mean abandon a car and a mobile home? You are statistically safer from a tornado if you're out in a ditch than you are in a mobile home, because it doesn't take much wind at all to grab that mobile home and destroy it or cause it to roll. So hopefully there's not too many of you in this zone watching it right now. And again, we are way northwest of Nashville. Nashville's in the clear for now. Later on tonight, during the wee hours of the morning, midnight, 1, 2 a.m., Nashville probably will see some storms. This is just the first storm that we're tracking. And you can see it right here. Now, some pretty good news is that we just got a new scan of data, and this is the warning ring in the upper atmosphere, and this is the warning ring that doesn't exist anymore in the lower atmosphere. So maybe we're seeing some progress. We can't just say, let's forget about it. But I will tell you this rotation looks like it's diminishing some. That's good. Now, Greenville, we got a report of Greenville. I'm not sure where Greenville's up here. So people up here, just for perspective, see that? That's just north of Todd County. They had a storm go through, and they had ping pong ball size hail. Yikes, that's big stuff. So this rotation with a storm we're tracking, where we have the tornado warning, looks like it may be weakening some. We're going to keep watching this a little bit longer. You can see how it's sort of it's pulsed. I'm going to go back in time a little bit, and then we'll do another track for you. See that right here? I'm going to draw the area where you really need to focus your attention. Watch this, right? Keep your eyes right here. We're looking for the tight packing of the reds and greens. I'm going to get a little more zoomed in as well. So watch this. I'll back it up in time. And you can see, it was more intense just south of Princeton before. And now it looks like that rotation is weakening some on the west side of Crofton. Crofton, you're still going to be in your safe spot, but we've got some encouraging news here. It's not safe yet. It's still a very intense storm. But these storms go through cycles. You can clearly see the cycle of that hook. It's unbelievable. Look at this. There's Princeton. So very clear. This is a little while ago. Timestamp says 7:30, 15 minutes ago. And then watch this, how that hook, they issued the tornado warning at the National Weather Service in Paducah, and the hook is diminishing some. Now, of concern also is the fact that back in that part of the storm, it's not diminishing completely. The hook is sort of getting less intense. The rotation's getting less, prevalent, but we still have some pinks and some blacks. So as of yet, the storm is not totally gone, of course. It looks like it may be collapsing in this area, so that means a better chance for hail up and through here, this hail zone. Again, Crofton points north, and on the west side, this is going to come get Crofton. So let's track this. Tornado warning remains in effect. Certainly known as the all clear. Where's Hawkins? Hawkins is right. It's right on Hawkins. So the people in Hawkins know what's going on right now because it's moving through. Again, just remain calm. All I'm doing here is giving you the information you need to make good decisions. And the information I've given you is get in your safe spot, Hawkins and Crofton. I don't like that. I'm going to have to draw this again because that was a little too short. You've got to still be in your safe spot, but I'm trying to find elements of good news to share, and I'm possibly finding some. So we'll see how this evolves in the next 10 minutes or so. Current time 7:44. Tornado warning for this area until 8 o'clock. It's a small area. It's northern Christian County. 8 o'clock. This time has not changed. Probably working into the Crofton area. Now, I turned off lightning. I'm going to turn it back on. You're hearing thunder out there like crazy, and you've been hearing that for a long time in Crofton as well. Yeah, let me just do the storm track. But here's the updated time. Fruit Hill 8:13, Kirkmansville 8:27. Look at all that lightning. Greenville 8:38. That'll be their second storm tonight. Greenville, Kentucky, in Whippoorwill at 8:59. Again, this way northwest of Nashville. Let's go to that video again. This on Instagram, and this probably 40 minutes ago, something like that, as the storm rolled through Caldwell County, Kentucky. Right in the heart of that is called Princeton. And so we got this on Instagram. Thank you for whoever shared that on Instagram. And it's just, you see a stop sign in the distance. Definitely see some rain blowing around. I don't know if we see hail or not. It's really hard to see. But it doesn't look too good. It doesn't look like a pleasant evening there. Now, the good news about this is these storms come in, they're not going to hang around long. Again, they're moving east at 30. And as we come back to the radar for a second, notice behind this storm, There's some other, storminess trying to form up here. It's really no big deal west of Princeton. This is the main event for now. And then farther west later on tonight, I'm going to turn off some of these. There's a lot going on the screen. Farther west later on tonight, we get into some of this. So this is why the tornado watch was issued, because there's a big zone right in through here where we've seen some development. All that has to go this way as we head through the overnight. Now, things are in our favor in the Nashville area. Melanie Layden just came in. Thank you, Melanie. She'll be joining us shortly here. Some good news about folks in Nashville, Point South and East. And the first part of that is that as this system moves along, it's going to take some time to get into Nashville, Point South and East, which is, of course, down and through here. So the atmosphere will have a little opportunity to cool off some, not a whole lot tonight, because we get a pretty good southwesterly wind. The greatest instability, the greatest forcing in the atmosphere is going to be up here along the Tennessee and Kentucky line. That said, still later on tonight, we could get some pretty strong storms, even into Nashville. Again, the timing, if that happens, we expect it to, at least some thunder and lightning, maybe some small hail, but potentially severe weather. We actually have a severe potential in Nashville. It's a level 2 threat. That would be around 1 o'clock in the morning or so. So here we are with the storm. The latest scan shows what's going on. Let's check the rotation again. And so we've got a couple areas we have to watch. One is, and we go back to the conventional view first, and we'll just draw the area where we would have a tornado if one is in progress now. So right around there, hey, this could be another little area of indentation or a hook that we'll have to watch. Now we copy that and sort of flip over to another data source, and it shows these little rotation areas. Let me zoom in for you. And one is at that northern circle, and another is down here. So there's two zones of the storm just west of Crofton that I'm watching. And north of both of them, there's some pretty good hail shown in the pink and black. There's no question at all that north of Crofton, it's hailing pretty good with some rain. It's not just all hail. There's a lot of rain, mainly rain, but some hail thrown in there. Now notice, again, these things have a life cycle, and they ebb and flow. I'm going to back it up, and it looks like maybe the hook is trying to get generated again. Let's zoom in and get some streets, do a little street spotting here. Since we're now in our area, we weren't before, so we weren't doing that, but now we are. Adams Store Road. This is northwesternmost Christian County, right in that area. And then here is Crofton. So distance from Crofton, from the most dangerous part of the storm, is 4.8 miles. That's all. So Cotton Dawson Road, if you're familiar with that, Adams Store Road we talked about. Pool Mill Road. You are right on the edge of some really heavy rain. Parts of Pool Mill Road are getting it farther north and west, but parts of where it comes in contact or intersects with North Madisonville Street, it's not. There's Crofton. There's the edge. The far eastern flank here of that tornado warning right there. So Melanie is joining us. And
hello.
Welcome. Come on in.
I'm going to come on in with you.
Slide over, yeah, and we'll just talk for a minute, just bring her up to speed. So we've been talking about this. You probably have been watching on the app or something. Okay.
Yeah, going ahead with this. So I know we have a tornado warning right now, southern Kentucky. Got some nasty lightning with this too.
Unbelievably electrical, yeah.
And it looks like some hail possibly with this as well.
Some hail. It's a perfect setup tonight for some hail. It's, temperatures aren't in the 70s or 80s. They're actually in the 50s and 60s. We've got enough instability, so enough lift tonight to hold some of these big pieces of hail. I'm going to walk over there if we could just do another storm track.
Sure.
On what's going on for our friends in Christian County, Kentucky.
Sure.
And so we're going to get you back to the voice as soon as that opportunity is afforded. But right now, the tornado warning continues for Christian County, Kentucky until 8 p.m. That's 10 more minutes. We will see if they issue again, if they issue into Todd County, because that would be next in line. So you can see there's Fruit Hill. And then east of there.
Really quickly, Dan, sorry I have to cut you off. Really quickly to start with this DMA view, our viewing area. And just to recap real quickly, the Nashville area is still looking good. We're zooming in here up to southern Kentucky if you're just tuning in right now. And we still have this tornado warning until 8 o'clock. So 10 more minutes to go on this. This is going to be for the northwestern Christian County area. And it looks like Caldwell County was included with this, but looks like they're expiring out of this as we speak. So really quickly, let's put a track on it. And we'll have Dan go to the green screen screen wall for you. We're looking at time lapse here over the last 45 minutes or so, and you can see how it's moving. Looks like it's moving a little bit northeastern right now, about 30 miles an hour it looks like. Again, a lot of lightning with this and about 10 more minutes to go with this tornado warning right now. So Dan, I'll let you get on the wall. I'll go ahead and put a track on this coming in from that little hook echo that we're watching right now. And I'm going to pull this about 30 miles an hour or so. So if you're living over in the Crofton area, it's almost right on top of you. Got just a couple minutes right now before it's heading right over you. Living in Greenville, you got about 8:38 for your time when it's getting to you. In Lewisburg, 8:59 as well. Rockport, 9:04 before this heads your way. Dan?
Okay, Melanie. Well, so we've got that track. We've got the hook, and that's just west of Crofton. Distance from Crofton, it looks like, here's Crofton right here. So distance from Crofton, probably no more than 3 miles. Here's the storm, and then it moves on into northern sections of Todd County in just a little bit. Here are those updated times. But as we focus down a little bit, it looks like, so here's Christian County, and it looks like this is the remnant severe thunderstorm warning that's not been canceled. So even if you're not in a tornado threat, you still get that hail potential that we've talked about. But then that red edge right here, that's the far eastern edge of that potential for a tornado. And it looks like in the last volume scan, unfortunately, that hook is beginning to become a little more defined there. Thank you for zooming in just a little bit.
Zoom in and get some street names in here for you, too, just to know exactly where you might be in relation to this.
Right. So we're talking about Cotton Dawson Road, that area in through here. Let's zoom in a little bit tighter. We've got, looks like the community of Era. I don't know if anybody lives in ERA, the community of Era, but it was on the radar map there. And then notice, I don't know if we could take this full or not, but there's that Cotton Dawson Road. And then here, right here is Crofton. Lightning, tremendous amount of lightning and thunder, and then hail. Hail is a little farther north. So there's that Cotton Dawson Road. There's Crofton. And let's try this one more time. Let's go in and zoom right here, and then we'll see some more of these streets popping up. And you can see, right, a little tighter, and that's when they get good. Okay, so it looks to me like we've got, probably
Crofton Dawson Road right over you right now. And that's a very long road, it appears.
Old Palestine Road in that general area because it's moving this way pretty quickly, and then again right over Crofton in time, and then farther east. Now let's do another storm track and see if this takes it any farther east of Todd County, because there's Fruit Hill, and that's in northern sections of Christian County. There's Kirkmansville. We've got that in far northwestern portions of Todd County. Let's do it actually due east, because it's moving due east. I couldn't have drawn a more straight line, and yep. And so there we go, Clifty, 8:49. Greenville, another storm coming in at 8:52. This is a good distance from the Tennessee line, but this is still the News 4 viewing area. I know I've gotten some emails. I just looked at my email, and there's some people saying, hey, when can we go back to The Voice? Just as soon as we're able, we will do that, but we still get this active tornado warning. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in 7 minutes when we get possibly a new tornado warning or just a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll have to see how that goes, but just unbelievable electricity in the storm. And you can see, take a look at this right here. This is hail. Now, when you see this number, don't believe it per se. It's not a guarantee it's going to be that big, but this is the setup tonight. There could be enormous hail in there. So it's not going to just be quarter size in some areas. It's going to be larger than that. And we saw that up in Greenville a short time ago where they had ping pong ball size hail and some very gusty winds, a severe thunderstorm, at least 58-mile-an-hour winds. We've got to be having that right now. And in some areas, we could have even a higher wind than that. So we're getting new reports in. It looks like Peter Dime size hail covering the ground back on the Missouri and Kentucky line. And we're looking to see, there's also some reports of another cell back towards Zalma in Kentucky. That's not in the News 4 viewing area, but that cell may be intensifying its rotation. They'll be watching that. Here we go, Crofton. Again, you've got to be in your safe spot. So it looks like that hook is getting well defined. Can we pull up rotation detector again?
Yeah. And
then we'll actually take a look at the debris detector once we get through rotation detector. So here's Crofton. And then you can see out ahead of that little hook, there was a little, looked like a little line, and that was the leading edge of the strongest winds with the collapsing storm. Looks like this rotation's intensifying right over Crofton. So pick some of these pixels here, but it looks like maybe 120 knots of 120 miles an hour or so of rotation in a very short area, very small area. There's some good green ones right there. So we're probably around 100 miles an hour. And you can see again, just on the south side of Crofton, but it's anywhere around Crofton. We're going to have to watch for this. And then here's debris detector. It's not matching up perfectly. And so when we have that rotation match up very well with the debris, it's matching up pretty closely though. Let's go back, Melanie, let's go back. That was pretty good actually. Okay. This could be debris. We don't know. But we're looking for cool colors on debris detector to match up with that hook and that rotation. So it's something we're going to have to keep our eyes on, and that's why we have that tornado warning in effect for Christian County until 8 o'clock. And notice how close it's getting. How close it's getting to Todd County.
Here we go, Dan. One more tornado warning just now issued. They've actually extended this a little bit further east.
Okay.
And now this is going to be northeastern Christian County and south central Kentucky and also southern Hopkins County now included in this as well. Brand new tornado warning just issued that you can see here.
Thank you. So we've been talking about this potential for the last 45 minutes, and it's really come to fruition for Fruit Hill and in Kirkmansville too. So Crofton, hunker down, be in that safe spot. Next in line, crossing into Todd County momentarily. On the north side of that, we've got that hail threat, and it extends deeper into central sections of Kentucky. This is not the time to go north. Up 24, there'll be more storms coming in later, and north through Hopkinsville, up toward Crofton, obviously, and 65. If I'm in southern Kentucky going 65 north toward Louisville, I wouldn't do that because these storms are going to catch you as they move along. I'm going to come back over here. So thank you for the new track there. It looks like Fruit Hill 816, Kirkmansville 834, Clifty at 848, and Drakesboro at 910 or so. The most dangerous part of the storm. Can you slide that storm over just a little bit?
Yes.
And then I won't be, there you go, perfect. And we have a warning ring. You can see that little warning ring. We talk about this. This is where the rotation is really focused in on and especially intense. It's not going to just drop one of these rings when we have any rotation. It has to be to a certain degree. And so the computer finds that and actually drops a warning ring. And so that's what we're seeing tonight right over that rotation within the storm. So you can see Crofton, Fruit Hill, and Clifty moving into your area. Now we've got some cameras. I don't know if in the back, if we can pull up maybe that sky camera in Hopkinsville briefly and look at that to see if we can see this light show. It's even possible from some of the cameras over downtown Nashville, if they're looking northwestward, we could see some of this lightning. It's conceivable because this is just unbelievably electrical. Right over Crofton. So if we have a tornado, it's in your area right now. Again, we'll give you the all clear. Let's broaden out. I think Hawkins may be close to the all clear, if not already. Let's zoom in. Hawkins should be right here. So Hawkins still getting a pretty bad storm.
Right, of course, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning.
Sure, yep.
2 more minutes left to go on that.
Sure, yeah. But in terms of people coming out of their safe spot, I'd give it Hawkins, you're right about here. I'd give it a few more minutes. We're not out of that threat yet for just a bad storm. So wait for that to pass on by. But probably in 10 minutes, we'll give that to you, but certainly not in Crofton. Wow, look at this, Melanie. Get really tight on that. Let's go street spotting because it looks like that is about as wrapped up as it's been, and that's over the community of Crofton. All right, we're getting some reports.
I'm going to turn this lightning off real quickly just because it's getting really big on the radar. But yeah, right there over East Princeton Street, South Old Madisonville Road. If you live in Crofton, Dawson Road, still want to be in your safe place right now as well. And heading right over Crofton Fruit Hill Road, going to be to you in just a few minutes here. Okay, new report coming in from Crofton. Again, this is in Christian County, Kentucky, dime-size hail, and that coming in just about 3 or 4 minutes ago. So that was the leading part of this. I'd be surprised if you get much more hail than that, maybe nickel size in Crofton. It's really not severe hail I'm concerned about. It's some of this rotation with that hook getting all the way to the ground. The hail threat is up and through here. The big hail threat is up and through here, a little farther north, and that's touching the northern border of Christian County. So if you live right along that border, just north of Crofton, that's where you're in that sweet spot for some hail. Now, if you're on the north side of Crofton, you could be getting into some hail. But look at that hook that's almost textbook as it moves almost perfectly due east. You can see it just cruising along there. So Princeton, you're long in the all clear. You've just got some showers and storms around you. Now, what also will be interesting, let's see now, quarter size hail, 3 miles northwest of Crofton.
So that makes a lot of sense because that's in this right in through here. So that's 1 inch diameter, and that's what makes a thunderstorm severe. That's a minimum criterion for a severe thunderstorm. 1 inch diameter hail at least, or maybe 58-mile-an-hour winds, or a tornado. If you have a tornado and not those other two things, then you've got technically a severe thunderstorm. So that report coming in right in from here as the storm continues to barrel eastbound. So Fruit Hill, Clifty, Lewisburg. Now the tornado watch is not in effect for Logan County, Kentucky. You can see Melanie's pulled up Russellville at 9:10. That's in Logan County. And we'll have to see if the folks at the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, eventually put Logan County, Kentucky in a tornado watch. I think they would have to in time because this thing is not quitting. Do you have something?
I'm just looking at the latest on the chat right now. We've got someone out in the Paducah, Kentucky area from the National Weather Service giving us some new updates there. Rotation really strengthening southwest of Crofton right now. And you can see right here on the radar, that's exactly where Dan was pointing out that really strong hook echo that you can see. As you mentioned, it is classic kind of textbook right there, the way it just kind of comes out of the radar that you can see forming that hook. We've got reports of some strong hail coming out of there too. He just mentioned quarter-size hail there. We even have a couple reports, unconfirmed at the moment, but up to ping-pong size hail. So this is a very serious storm. I'm going to put the lightning back on so you can see just how much lightning is being produced from the storm. Kind of clutters the radar here, so I take it off when Dan's at the wall. But look at how many lightning strikes we have right now. And I put the counter on to show you just in this area over 100 strikes right now. So this is a very serious storm that we're dealing with.
You know, and on top of that, we're seeing this thing evolve so much that it almost looks like, well, I'm not saying that this is what this is, but it almost looks like on the radar, we've got a debris ball. So it's like a ball that's come out in the leading edge, and sort of this would be debris from a tornado. Can you circle that debris ball and then come back to this?
Yeah, sure.
And again, these are moving images, but here it is right here, and then let's see how that matches up with what we call debris detector. You know, so that, hey, the debris could be a little in advance, or it could be really focused back in here. Let's pull up the rotation. And so rotation detector will tell us a story as well.
Yeah. Man,
that rotation looks pretty good. So I can't say for sure that's debris from that because it's a little misplaced, but it's pretty close. Pretty close, yeah. The Weather Service in Paducah is saying rotation really strengthening southwest of Crofton. That's what we're seeing and saying here on News 4 as this thing's coming along. This looks like a classic debris ball. So I would be shocked. And, you know, we're not scanning far off the ground. I would be very surprised if we don't have something that's touched down tonight. You know, so you've got to stay hunkered down, Crofton. Look at this. So this is big hail, and then this is probably 70-mile-an-hour winds. Mm-hmm. This is 3-inch diameter hail up at Empire. So it's not going to be that big tonight, but it could be. But for the most part, it's not going to be. So I wouldn't panic at Empire that it's going to be 3-inch diameter. Okay, when I pause sometimes, I'm just looking at some reports. But yeah, that strongest wind is in through here. Let's go to the broad view again, just for a moment to give people the overall view of what's going on. So we only have 5 counties in the area under a tornado watch until 1 o'clock in the morning. And then as we go back to the west, let's check on that next round of storms. And you can see it back and through here. Now, they don't look overly impressive because we're scanning off a local radar, but they're going to move into Kentucky here shortly, probably in the next hour or so. So Paducah's going to get another round, and then you can see Mayfield, Murray, Hopkinsville, and then all this is going to start to sink farther south as we head through the 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning type of a time frame. So don't think, oh, it's all moving due east. Nashville, we're not going to get any. Nashville is going to get storms tonight. There's no question in my mind, but it's going to be several hours away. So tornado warning until 8:30. That's the new one. And you can see how it's branching out. It's fanning out as the storm continues to move due east toward Kirkmansville, right over Crofton. If there's a tornado with this now, it's on the far east side of Crofton. So it's cruising along. It's not flying like sometimes these things move at 60 or 70 miles an hour. Tonight, these storms are moving at 30. But right now, you can see Crofton here. This is Hopkinsville Highway. It's on the eastern flank of that. Moving along. Okay. We've got Tracy Cornett standing by with some damage reports from likely Southern Kentucky.
Yeah, we have been calling around and talking to various EMS agencies and just wanting to see if there is anything going on here that we need to be reporting to all of you. And so far, Dan, in Christian County, talking to EMS people there, no reports of any damage at this moment, no significant damage. So, you know how this does take time, and you all are our eyes and ears out there watching, and we appreciate your video and your pictures and your eyewitness accounts of what you're seeing and experiencing. We're also taking a look here at, this is from Instagram. This is in Princeton, Kentucky, this video that you're watching, and I'm watching it along with you for the first time as to what they're experiencing out there. And this is why I think, Dan, and you can answer to this, when we see these storms and these lightning strikes, as Melanie's been pointing out here, I think we're all expecting to hear, tell us what we can expect when and if these storms roll into our neighborhoods here in the Metro Nashville area, because these certainly are severe. And of course, anytime we hear the word tornado, we're all on edge and we're all eager to hear more. So Dan Thomas, I'm going to toss it back to you and ask if this is likely, are we likely to experience the severity of what we're seeing here in Christian County once it rolls into Nashville?
Probably not, Tracy.
Okay.
Probably not. Good news there. But conceivably, we could have severe weather here in Nashville. What's going to happen later on tonight? You can see what's going on here. This is the severe weather potential for the mid-state, and down here is the radar. This shows that anywhere in Middle Tennessee, west of the eastern Highland Rim is really fair game for severe weather tonight. A lower threat in southeastern and eastern Middle Tennessee. But as these storms move down into Nashville later on this evening, they'll have a better chance of producing some damaging wind and a better chance of producing just some very heavy rain. So they'll sort of morph into a damaging wind event. The best chance of any tornadoes and the best chance of huge hail is in our far northwestern county. So here we go. You can see Crofton here. Crofton is almost out of this. I'd give you 5 more minutes, Crofton, maximum, and then you can come out of your safe spot. But it still looks like a pretty good hook there. And maybe, we don't know, but maybe a debris ball. We're not sure. If it is, it's not holding huge things, which is, of course, good. But again, this is very rural out here, so it may not have a whole lot of things to sort of elevate. But Cotton, we've got Cotton Fruit Hill Road, we've got Kings Lane, Crofton Fruit Hill Road, pardon me, Kings Lane. This is Crofton Fire Tower Road, so all obviously in Crofton. And this is right beneath where a tornado would be in progress now. This is, it looks like Johnson Mill Road. So you can see Melanie's just pulling up some streets, so we can sort of, if you're familiar with that part of the area, that's what we're talking about. And then here comes Haley's Mill. So it was up there for a second, but that's the next community to get this. You're on the edge now, some big hail. Apex, probably 1-inch diameter hail right now, based on some of the reports already. Just north of Crofton, this is probably even bigger than 1-inch diameter in that black zone there, and it's moving due east. So Melanie's doing a great storm track from the most dangerous part of the storm, which has to be where the tornado could be in progress right now, or at least that threat for tornado happens to be. So Fruit Hill, 813, Kirkmansville, 829, Clifty, 841, Lewisburg, not Tennessee, Lewisburg in Kentucky. So we're talking about down the road here. Once it gets out of Todd County, we're going to be getting into Logan County, where there's no tornado watch in effect now. Russellville, you're right, not far from there, 922. That's also in Logan County, Kentucky. So that center of circulation right here. Let's go back to rotation detector, if you would, Melanie, and just sort of check on that. Wow, but you know what? This is, I want to say it's broad, but there's a couple of big, spokes of bright color there. I don't know if we can sort of interrogate this and that and sort of get a collective rotation. So there's over 100 miles an hour, 115 miles an hour of rotation in a pretty tight area right over that. Looks like Crofton, what is that? Crofton Fruit Hill Road or something?
Yes, Crofton Fruit Hill Road right there over you.
Yeah.
So we'll pull up the debris detector too to kind of get an idea. And you can see right there where these bright colors are, kind of right there where that debris ball Dan was talking about. And along with this too, along with the tornado threat that we have here with this tornado warning, that again, we've got about 20 minutes or so left on this, 22 minutes there. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is going to be a tornado warning until 8:30 for northeastern Christian County. Now it's moved a little bit. And on top of this, the threat for a tornado, of course, but also hail. And we've had a tremendous amount of lightning with this too. So even if you're not directly in the path of this tornado warning, you're probably hearing a lot of thunder, seeing some lightning strikes out there, hearing them as well. and also possibly some hail out there as well too. So we'll put a storm threat on this as well, and take a look and see what we have going here. I'm gonna turn the lightning off for just a second because it kind of clutters the radar, as you can see, but we've had reports of huge hail out here. And of course, this is elevated, so it's picking it up from higher up than it's actually hitting the ground, but inch and a half or so. We've got tremendous wind speeds with this as well. We've had wind reports over 70 miles per hour. This is moving east, directly east, about 30 miles per hour or so, and I'll put the radar back on so you can see it. Finally moving out of Crofton. It's been hanging over there for a while, but you can see that hook echo coming out of here. I'll highlight it here on the radar, just coming out like a classic hook right there. I'll put a lapse on this over the last 30 minutes so you can see how it's moving. It's moving quickly, but not as quick as most of these we see. Again, about 30 miles per hour. And again, this is a tornado warning that goes until 8:30, and this is still going to be in that region of northeastern Christian County. So if you live here, we'll put a brand new track on this for you too and show you exactly where it's coming and when it's going to be in your area. As Dan mentioned, it's heading closer toward that Logan County region, which has not issued a tornado watch. By the way, that watch for half of that southern Kentucky area goes until 1 o'clock this morning. But the way it's looking right now, you want to go ahead and plan ahead to be in your safe place here in the next few minutes, because as we take a track on this from that hook and move it about 30 miles per hour east, what you're going to see here is that Fruit Hill area coming to you in about less than 2 minutes, 8:13 before it hits you. Kirkmansville, 8:25 before it comes into your community. Clifty, 8:36, and Lewisburg, 8:58. So you've got a little bit of time before that's heading your way, and hopefully this will be weakening. But what we have been seeing is that hook echo kind of gaining strength, and our storm spotters out here all in Kentucky have been telling us they're really seeing that gain strength too with the wind speeds and the hail as well.
Melanie, we've gotten a couple new reports in. We want to share those with people at home.
Okay.
Miles south of Crofton, 1-inch diameter hail. Hey, by the way, Crofton, if you're right in Crofton, you've got the all clear. You can come out. You can't go outdoors, of course, as we put back lightning on. You can see It's just still crazy electrical. You can't go back outdoors. You're definitely close enough to the heart of the storm to get struck, but you can come out of your safe spot. And hopefully things are A-OK. Maybe you can tweet us, at News 4 here and let us know what happened in Crofton. And we'll share those reports live on TV with Tracy Cornett standing by.
And now the number of those lightning strikes too, Dan, 134 right now reported in this general area that we're just zoomed into too.
It's incredible, and it's because all the ice, all that hail is in the storm. It's elevated up there, suspended, and we've got that friction because these hailstones are bumping into one another, bumping into the hail drops. So there's a huge electrical charge differential within the storm down to the ground, and that's why it sort of has to be equalized and balanced out, and that's why we have all this lightning taking place tonight. Looks like on the north side of Fruit Hill, that's now the most dangerous part of the storm for a tornado threat. Again, we've got all this lightning farther north and hail, but right in through here. So that looks like a North Greenville Road. So that's going to go from Fruit Hill all the way up into Greenville, where we've already had a storm tonight. And then east of there is Bluff Spring. This right here is this Crofton Fruit Hill Road. So that connects. Is that what I'm seeing right here?
That
Crofton
is,
Fruit
yes.
Hill. Okay.
I'll help you read some of these. They can get kind of tiny up there on
Sure.
the radar. Pine Tree Road right over you too with some hail. Also North Greenville Road. You're seeing this coming right over you too. Again, this is just north of Fruit Hill and including some of that city there. Wade Road, you're getting some heavy downpours at the moment. And just south of that, but you're still in the path, North Greenville Road, Old Fruit Hill Road, Wade Road, and Greenville Road. And that looks like it's just a little bit north of Fearsville.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So it's in this general area right here, and it's a perfect zoom. Johnson Mill Road on the west side of that. And so next in time is going to be, it looks like north of Fearsville, Bluff Spring. And then it looks like maybe Overton Road. Is that what I'm seeing there? Mm-hmm. Overton Road. Okay. Let's broaden out again, and then we can see a couple of things. This sticks out like a sore thumb as we just cheat down a little bit. Look at all the lightning. This is what Melanie talked about right in the heart of this storm, and that's the only action in the mid-state in southern Kentucky right now. That's the only area that we're talking and focused about. Once that gets past Logan County, then it's going to be on its way toward Bowling Green. So we'll have to watch this in Bowling Green. It does not want to let go of that hook. You know, sometimes these cycle, they last maybe 15, 20 minutes and then they're gone. Other times they sort of diminish some and then come on back. And that's the way this thing is sort of holding on with that hook. It's just not wanting to sort of diminish that. So up and through here, that's the heavy rain and hail threat. Down and through here, that's the tornado threat and damaging wind threat as well. You could get damaging winds back and through here, of course, but you've also got it around that circulation. So we talked about some reports before. We have another report of public reporting damage a half-mile south of Crofton, carport and sign damage. So that would be probably somewhere in this area a little while ago. So carport, carports are giant windsocks, so we don't know really what to make of that. Generally speaking, they're windsocks, so the wind gets under that and it's gone or it's broken up. Here's another warning ring. Another warning ring has popped up. This storm looks pretty ragged on the side where we would have a tornado if we have one. That's good, but again, we've got that warning ring that we have to sort of respect tremendously, and we've got this hook and we've got this little ball that just does not look good. How's rotation look? Right over Haley's Mill.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. I'm going to turn that warning ring. Well, I'll leave it on really quickly, and then I'll turn this rotation on so we can see. And we're looking for those tight green and red colors together. I'm going to turn this off so you can see a little better. I'm going to turn off lightning as well, just so it doesn't clutter the radar so much. But you can see there, it looks to me kind of some broad rotation there, Dan. But also it looks like we do have still maybe some areas. I'll put some indications on these to see. Still looks like we have over 100 miles an hour with this as well.
So you got an 86. So we don't know if this little pixel here is legit or not. What we do know, though, is that there's a ton of winds going this way, going southbound, because this is in the storm and this is where it's collapsing. So we've got downdraft air right in through here. So there's no question all this is getting down to the ground. So we've got a lot of wind as this hook comes through on the backside, and where that meets with that inflow air, then again, we could have a little spin up a little tornado. So that's the area we're focused in the vicinity of Fruit Hill, not far from the Todd, or in fact, so we've got Christian County, we've got Todd County right here, not from that line, and then next in line would be Clifty in time as it continues to move along. Time now currently is, what time do we have? About 8:17.
8:17 right now.
So 13 more minutes on this tornado warning. We'll see what happens with the next one, if there is another one. But you can see it stops. So does it stop right there? Are we current on time?
We are current on time right now, and it looks like it's backed
off. So Todd County's
off.
not in it. Okay.
And right now we're only seeing it for northeastern Christian County. It looks like we've backed off a little bit on the wind speed too, so it's slowing down a bit. Right now we're looking at wind speeds of 25 miles per hour. We were at 30 a little bit ago. I'm going to turn this warning ring off and put a brand new track on it, and we'll have you track that at the wall, Dan. But we're going to see that here from Fruit Hill, moving at about 25. Well, actually, hold on. I got to zoom out real quickly here. Kind of some rural areas around here too. So if you live here, you probably know that pretty well already.
Pardon me. I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt ever, but so we have an unconfirmed report of a tornado. Here we go. So a mile south of Crofton at 8:02, there's coming in tornado witnessed by a meteorologist just south of Crofton. So a meteorologist is going to know what a tornado looks like, must have seen a flash of lightning. It's almost like daytime when we get these things, and that could be the reason for the carport destroyed, possible roof and sign damage 1 mile south of Crofton. So we should be getting some reports coming out of Crofton here shortly. I don't know if we can get on the phone with those folks. If we can't, then they're overwhelmed up there. But just to find out, there's Crofton, here's Fruit Hill, and this is why, I hate to say it, I know you want to see the voice, but this is why we've stayed with this tonight, because it's not official yet, but according to what we're reading here, it looks like there is a meteorologist who has seen a tornado on the ground come right through the Crofton area, the southern side of Crofton. And so it's all wrapped up still. Right in through here. Here's Clifty, and it's rolling toward Lewisburg in Logan County, Kentucky. Here's that. Is this an updated track?
Yes.
Yeah, updated track. Can you redraw this just and cheat right to the Christian and Todd County line?
Okay.
Because this thing is, it's moving along. There's a little snapshot here, and so we want to give everyone just a.
Let me zoom out real quickly. Before I do this.
Perfect. And you can see Lewisburg. So that's northern portions of Logan County, right near the Warren County line. So Bowling Green, you got to stay plugged in. It's coming right at Bowling Green. Kirkmansville, 823. This is just as rural out here as Northern Christian County about. I mean, you get a ton of farms. Clifty, 836. Again, current time is 8:19 and 9:02 into Lewisburg. Okay, all right. Tracy Cornett, you got an update?
I just want to review a couple of calls we've made and efforts we're trying to get. I know you mentioned, Dan, if we could get some EMA personnel on the phone, and we are certainly trying to do that. But again, per Christian County Emergency Services, no damage, but there are reports of rotation near North Greenville Road. And that's what Dan was mentioning as this thing heads over toward Bowling Green, which, as you know, is a much greater population than where this storm system has been so far. Also want to mention a public report of tornado damage about a half a mile south of Crofton, and that's what Dan's been mentioning. And of course, until those things are verified, we can't really even call it that, but that is what the public is certainly seeing and sharing as far as eyewitness accounts. So take cover now in Northern Christian County is what you're hearing. Again, a public report. But this is something, and Dan and Melanie, I know you're so used to sharing this, but I love to seize the moment here. First of all, yes, here is our information. If you can send us your pictures and your video, get our app right now. But I know, guys, I was out reading to Read Across America to some schools today. I know several of us were, and the kids were talking about how scary these reports of weather and tornadoes and such can be. And we talked all the way through your safe space and where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to do. So if you guys would take a moment to talk about quickly, remind folks at home what they should be doing when storms like this roll through.
Yeah, sure. Let's go. We'll pull this up for you really quickly, too. In a tornado warning, it's so important to get to your safe place. You want to take shelter in the lowest interior room of your home. You want to go ahead and protect your head from flying debris. Make sure you have pillows, and then you can, a helmet, even a bicycle helmet. If you have one handy, go ahead and pull it in your safe closet, too. You want pillows, blankets, anything to protect yourself. If you are not, maybe in a future scenario, maybe you're not even inside your home. Maybe you're in a car or a mobile home. This is one of the worst places you can be in a situation like this in a tornado warning. You want to abandon those and find a ditch that you can get into. Other things that I like to tell people to do too is make sure your phone is fully charged when you have that with you in your safe place, whether it be a basement, maybe an interior coat closet underneath the staircase is a great place, an interior bathroom, and batteries. Make sure you have those, flashlights, and have on tennis shoes too, because in the worst case scenario of your house being blown over by a tornado, you want to have on those sturdy shoes to be able to walk through and collect your things and start calling for emergencies too. So definitely want to make sure you have a plan in place with your family to know where that safe place is. So there's your tips for tornado warnings, and Dan Thomas is taking the green screen, and we'll get back to this tornado warning that we're watching up in southern Kentucky real quickly. And we're going to actually use some technology to get deep dive in there and take a 3D look at this tornado, Dan.
Hey, do you see where we are right here, folks? This is Christian County. This is Todd County. We've got unconfirmed tornado report, but a meteorologist supposedly in the field has seen one. You know, we've got to say, people in Kirkmansville and Clifty, you've got to get to your safe spot. Doesn't matter if there's not a tornado warning officially for Todd County. You've got to go there and respect this thing because of all that we talked about tonight. So Kirkmansville, head there now if you're not there already, and Clifty as well. Can you do that 3D deal?
Yes, I can. I just want to mention real quickly too, you can see right here how it's getting into Todd County, even though, just as Dan mentioned, that warning has not been issued into it yet. It looks like the National Weather Service is about to pull the trigger on that here any second now. They're chatting about it, but this is coming into your county right now. You want to go ahead and plan ahead to get in your safe space too.
There it is.
There it is.
9 o'clock.
There it goes.
So 9 o'clock, they just put it out for, it looks like Christian, Muhlenberg, and Todd.
There it goes.
Yeah, so it's just populating as Melanie was saying that. Moving east at 40, that's what they're calling it right now. This is a computer, sometimes these are computer generated movements. You know, I feel good if we just keep moving at about 30, 35, something like that. Split the difference and do 35 as we track it. Here's Lewisburg. So Clifty, absolutely, hunker down, obviously. Now, south of Greenville got hit by ping pong ball size hail before. It looks like the worst of that hail is just south of you, but it's probably still pretty big, probably golf ball size hail. Tornado potential in Kirkmansville, 825. Clifty, 834. Lewisburg, Kentucky, about 854. 921 at Auburn, Kentucky, and in Morgantown, Kentucky, around 925. Again, we are probably, I'm guessing here, estimating 80 miles, maybe 90 miles north of Nashville. So as this moves along, probably about 85 miles. So zooming along, looks like that hook's still very well defined. So let's look at rotation.
Very well. I'm going to zoom into a couple of these areas here too, because look at that, Dan. That's
sure.
a very good one right there. So if you live anywhere near JJ Road, this is right over you. Gum Grove Road, Greenville Road, Allegra Road, if I'm saying that correctly, and then heading just right there over Kentucky Highway 171, which is also, looks like it's also named Weir Road. So if you live right there, this is right over you and coming right for you too.
Yeah, and so the inflow air that's feeding the storm coming in like this and interacting with the collapsing side of the storm right here, and that's why we have this rotation sort of developing. We've got several different rotation detector products. This is one of them, and we've got another one that's sort of more relative. We've got the relative one to show. Oh, wow, that was a good one as well. Go back to that. Yeah, so
right here.
And now is this rotation detector? We've got rotation path as well that shows the path history. And so just pull up that rotation path, which is right nearby, and you'll see that it may be most significant right now. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so it's been doing that all along, right over Crofton. So these little red blotches are the history of the most dangerous part of the storm rotation-wise. And right now, that most dangerous part is in the far western portion of Todd County in Kentucky. So right over Kirkmansville. This must be base velocity. What are you looking at there?
I don't know. It's pulling up something. I don't know what it's pulling up actually.
All right.
So we'll head off that and look at debris detector instead.
Okay. All right. And so we zoom on in, and we're looking for any debris, and we're not seeing that per se matchup right now with that hook, but it's pretty close. This could be debris. We don't know for sure. And so let's just go back to that regular radar view. What are the rainfall rates looking with this thing? Because they must be, wow, is that hook just impressive. The rainfall rates must be 8 inches per hour. You know, if this were all rain. This is the rain accumulation for the last 3 hours, and we've got 2.5 inches of rain. Now, again, there's going to be some hail in this, so it's not going to be perfect, but this is a pretty good estimate because we changed the radar technology 5 or 10 years ago and implemented it, and so it's a little bit better. But this is the rainfall rate. What did you see, about 8 inches, 7 inches? Something like that right here?
That's the rain over the next hour, so
yeah,
7.8, 7.2.
So it is just coming down unbelievably, and then we've got some hail in that as well. The wind's blowing. If there is a tornado out there, you know, if you are in the right position of the storm, way south of it, southeast of it, southwest of it, you might actually see it go by. But we don't, you know, you've got to be in your safe spot. Look at this thing, how it's really wrapped up right there. That's just incredible. How classic is that in Kirkmansville? And then next in line is Clifty. And this thing just does not want to quit. So
that warning ring on it right there too, right around Kirkmansville. And we'll take a look at the debris detector too. It's, you know, kind of matching up below it a little bit. But
yeah, and this is a lot of garbage here too. When you get close to the radar sites, you got to be careful. But it's tough. Sometimes it matches perfectly, sometimes it doesn't. And so we just look at it and then we move on when it doesn't show a whole lot of anything. But wow, so the northern portion. This is the far northern reaches of Todd County. Now, tornado-wise, I don't see any tornado threat anymore in Christian County. Here's the outline, if we could run over that outline. And so what that means is if you're in Christian County and you've been hunkered down in your closet, in your bathroom, in your basement, in your storm shelter, you can come out of your safe spot. You can't go outdoors because, again, it's still ugly, but that tornado threat is by you, and it's not in Christian County anymore. So Christian County, all clear to come out of your safe spot. Even though it says tornado warning for Christian County, the threat is past you. So
sometimes
now,
they take a second to drop off our radar too.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yep. So, but we see Kristen and Todd at the bottom of the screen there, and so boom, right in through here, moving along. Now, how far can you do the distance tool? How far from Clifty and how far from Lewisburg?
Sure.
Because if we know that time, we can sort of just infer. So that's probably. What is that? Probably 6 miles? No, not even. Wow. So that's 4.5 miles.
4.5 miles from there, and closer to Lewisburg, we're looking about not even 15 miles or so.
15 miles. So Weather Service folks are watching this like a hawk, obviously. We've got so many meteorologists watching the storm tonight, really from all over the country, because it may be the only game in the country right now to watch severe weather-wise. And they're seeing the rotation with this intensifying. So we've been seeing this sort of ebb and flow. We've definitely seen that hook look more impressive, but it's just north of Clifty right now, just a few minutes away. And so you got to be hunkered down in that safe spot. Nashville, I know this is not convenient. But we have an unconfirmed report of a tornado touching down 1 mile south of Crofton. So if the rest of Middle Tennessee wanted to see, or really all of Middle Tennessee wanted to see a show tonight, I get it. And we apologize for that, but we've got to stay with this threat because of the reports we've gotten so far tonight, because of the radar signatures we see there around Kirkmansville, and again, moving toward Clifty as well. Melanie,
yeah, and Dan, we just got a report here from National Weather Service in Paducah that rotation is really increasing over in Kirkmansville too. So really quickly, I'm going to zoom out to our broader view to show you just if you live in Nashville, you know it's not an event here in Middle Tennessee right now. In fact, it's very quiet out here in Nashville and really in Tennessee in general. But if you take a look up here, I'm going to pull up the radar. Look just how impressive that looks up there in southern Kentucky. And this is part of our viewing area too, so we got to make sure they're okay. I turn on the lightning tracker with this as well, zooming in a little bit closer to it as you can see, and look at just how much lightning is being produced out in this general area too. Of course, you got that hazard of a tornado, hail, and now we've got almost 100 strikes of lightning reported in this little storm system that we have watching right here. And Dan, a few minutes ago, we talked about diving into this and showing you a 3D view of the tornado. You want to go ahead and do that now?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Let's take a look at that because this is really cool. We can get this working. I'm going to draw a box here right over the Kirkmansville area, and we're going to move it up into a 3D look so you can see it real closely here and how cool that looks. Let me zoom out just a little bit so you can see exactly what we're looking at here, Dan.
Yeah, and so this shows a few things tonight. It shows the massive stuff up in the atmosphere off the ground, and a lot of that, the tallest parts of the storm are north of where that tornado would be. And Melanie's sort of highlighting that in through there. Probably extends, I don't know if we can tell how high that is tonight, but it's probably, I'm guessing, about 35, maybe 40,000 feet, maybe even 45. Just tough to see from this vantage point. But then down and through here, you can see how the storm actually, there's an updraft and a downdraft, and the downdraft shows this sort of collapsing down in this area here. So this is where we call the rear flank downdraft. You just have collapsing winds, and it meets up with right in through here the inflow into the storm. And as we tighten up, let's get real tight on this thing. Zoom in. You can see the underside. Sometimes if you've been out, not far from a big storm on a summer day or spring day, you can see the underside of that. We call that mammatus clouds, and you can sort of see that texture right in through here. Wow, just incredible. But this, again, the most dangerous part of that storm around Kirkmansville and on its way toward Clifty in Todd County. So you've got to be, if you've got a basement, you've got to be there. If you've got a storm shelter, you've got to be there, and most of us don't. See that? There's Kirkmansville, there's Clifty.
We could do this with hail, too, if I can put a hail detector on this, too. We can see just how much hail is coming in from up there as well.
And it shows how much of that is elevated. Now, you know the law of physics. You may have heard this back in school. What goes up must come down because of gravity. So all this hail, and some of this is rain, but it's got to come back down to the ground. So eventually it gets tossed out of the updraft and it gets sent back to the ground. So all this hail and some of that rain will come down tonight before the storm, completely falls apart. Some of it as it's going along, and other parts of it, once the storm completely dies out. So here's the big tornado warning. Logan County. So Logan County. So what do we have for counties on this?
All right,
looks Todd, like Logan. Is this a brand new one?
Yeah, it looks like they just issued a brand new one right now until 9:15, and this is going to be. They totally canceled the Christian County one, which we already knew that, and it looks like this one they've just issued. Sorry, this chat's getting a little cluttered. North of Elkton, moving east at 35 miles per hour. This is going to be in Todd County.
Yeah, so we can even change that thing at the bottom of the screen to Todd in Logan counties. Let me just step off for a minute. We'll get that bulletin. The expiration for both of those is 9:15.
Yeah, and notice here, these areas that we're looking at, these weren't even included in that tornado watch that was issued earlier. If you were watching earlier on News 4's evening newscast tonight, we were talking about this tornado watch that was in effect till 1 o'clock in the morning, and this is now extending into these counties that weren't even included in this in the first place. So let's pull up here and look where that newest one has just been issued. This is going to include the Lewisburg area, and this is a brand new tornado warning out from Louisville, Kentucky, that actually issued this one. Northwestern Logan County and southwestern Butler County are now included in this as well. So that's just a little bit out of our viewing area, but the Logan County portion is definitely in our viewing area.
Totally, yeah. So this is coming out of Louisville, so that's why I guess it took them a little bit longer. Now what they just said, what the folks at the National Weather Service in Louisville just just said is that they expect this storm to likely sort of outrun its support. So as it moves along into Logan County, it's sort of going to get ahead of the best conditions. So they do not plan currently on putting Logan County, Kentucky into a tornado watch. So we had the warning. The warning is more significant. That's really what we care about right now. But for those of you wondering about that, we talked about it a few times in the last 15 minutes. Current plan is to not include this in the watch, and that's why you don't see Logan County and back into Warren County, Butler County, all filled in red. Good news also is, Melanie, you'll agree with me, I'm sure, this thing looks like it's losing some of its identity.
Yeah.
Losing some identity. Looks a lot less impressive. We still have a hook here, but it just looks a little more ragged at several areas on that southern flank of the storm. All right, Tracy Cornett has an update from the news desk.
All right, Dan, thank you so much. Melanie, thank you so much. In addition to the reports that you guys have been sharing, and we know that we have reports of trees down on Old Madisonville Road in Crofton. We've been saying Crofton a lot as far as getting the crux of this storm damage. And as you mentioned, Dan, these are rural areas here. So by the time this thing gets to us, and I know there's people asking about this, continuing to ask about this, Dan, as to if you can address it, as to what this storm is going to look like by the time it eventually gets to Nashville and this kind of our area, right? Our DMA. I want you to answer that in just a moment. But before I send it back to you, those of you who are at home and you're seeing things, I know it's dark out there, so it's tough. But if you've got any video that you want to send our way so that you can help be our eyes and ears and witnesses to some of this stuff, please go ahead and go to our app or our website where you can upload pictures and video, and we would love to put it on the air. Just make sure you leave a name so that we can give you proper credit. But we certainly appreciate you kind of being a part of our community effort when it comes to educating folks and making sure that you all are safe out there. And that's the most important thing tonight, is that no reports of anybody hurt in any of this, and that's the way we want to keep it, which is why, Dan and Melanie, you're on the air for such an extended period of time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll address both of those things. But the first thing we want to address is that we've got another report of at least some sort of funnel with this thing. So this has happened before. This is past tense. But when it was over by Crofton, just on the east side of Crofton, somebody else said they reported that they saw a funnel cloud. So there's definitely been something out there tonight, maybe at times touching down, according to a meteorologist. Possibly it did touchdown. But if we could just zoom out just a little bit, Melanie.
Sure.
And put it in a time-lapse mode. So put on the composite reflectivity time-lapse mode. You'll see how this is storm one. This is the first storm. And then there's many other storms farther west. So as we go to the region, you'll see back into Missouri, back into Arkansas. It looks like most of this is going to push due east. But in time, you can see, oh, here we go. So new development out toward Dyersburg. So this is what we've been waiting on. Now, right now, it's in its infancy stage, but that's going to drift up. You can see it's sort of drifting east to maybe just north of east, maybe in time Paris. It's going to take a lot longer for it to get into Nashville. At time it will, but some of the best conditions for making storms will stay north of Nashville tonight. So Nashville could easily have severe weather tonight. Will it be as bad as this supercell thunderstorm has been farther north? Probably not. In fact, I'd be very surprised. I think the best tornado threat, if full the mid-state, is up and through here tonight. It's not zero farther south, but this is where we have that greatest potential for the next few hours. Melanie?
All right, I'm going to zoom back in here to a wider view just so you can see what's going on here. And I know this is very frustrating if you live in the Nashville area. I know we have The Voice on tonight. If you look at Tennessee, we just showed you there. We've got some activity moving into the West Tennessee area right now. But all the action right now is happening up in southern Kentucky, as you can see. And it just really sticks out like a sore thumb here on the radar. But had about a 30-minute lapse on this, so you can see how it's moving. Continuing to track east, we still have 2 tornado warnings ongoing right now until about 9:15. So still got a little ways longer to go on these. And again, this does include areas of southern Kentucky. The newest one just being issued out here in Logan County. And look at that. Like, you can see this right here, another little hook trying to form. And this is going to be just about northwest of the Lewisburg area. And that's why this has been issued here. But generally speaking, this cell looks like it is weakening a little bit. We've seen it really strengthen and weaken and kind of grow and really intensify with lightning as well, as I mentioned earlier, hail with this, and of course that main hazard being a tornado, and that's why the tornado warnings are issued, obviously. Lightning strikes, as far as they go, this particular area that we're zoomed in on, 106 lightning strikes with this already. So even if the tornado is not in your general area here in southern Kentucky, you still have the threat of seeing a severe storm out there. And once again, just to recap for you, this is kind of like repeating like a broken record, but when there's a tornado warning, you just got to have your safe place in mind. Make sure you have a plan in place with your family, especially if you have younger kids that live in the home. Know where your safe place is, and that would be any kind of basement, an interior room, under a staircase if you have one's a great place to be too, an interior bathroom. Want to protect your head with pillows, blankets, even a bicycle helmet if you have one. Make sure your phone stay fully charged. If you have a weather radio, that's great to have with you as well in case your power goes out and you can't hear us here on News 4 telling you when it's all clear in your area. Make sure you have tennis shoes on just in case there's any kind of damage in your home once you're getting out of this and if the tornado does come through. We're going to go back to the radar here really quickly. We're looking at some latest updates on our National Weather Service chat. And we have severe thunderstorm warnings out there. They're being continued in many areas. We have these tornado warnings issued here too. Again, this is really a southern Kentucky event right now, but when we took a big zoom out there of the radar, we definitely have some storms that will be getting into the Nashville area. It's just going to be a very late night event for those. They're already developing out there in West Tennessee right now, so we will be seeing them later, but the main threat right now is going to be in southern Kentucky. So once again, let's go through this again. I'm going to put a brand new track on this for you. A quick lapse on it just to show you where it's been going if you're just flipping the channel on right now. This is moving east right now, about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So we'll split the difference here and we'll call it 35. And I'm going to put a track on this from this newest tornado warning issued out in Logan County. We'll continue it to track east. So if you live in Lewisburg, it's going to be to you in about 5 minutes or even less right now. Bowling Green, 931. If you live out in Brownsville, Kentucky, 951, and halfway 951 as well. So that's just slightly out of the News 4 viewing area, but just to keep you safe, this is where it's coming to you right now as that moves east. Dan.
All right, Melanie, can we get back to the rotation detector?
Sure.
And look at essentially that, just to see what we're seeing right in through here. So we still have some really good collapsing winds on the backside, and we still have some pretty good inflow on the front side of the storm. So this depiction really hasn't changed a whole lot in the last little while. Distance here, this is probably, I'm guessing, 5 or 6 miles across. So it's broad rotation, if you will, but it's possible a little tightening is going to happen in time. So we'll have to watch this into Lewisburg. Tornado warning continues. We like to sort of get under the hood of these storms sometimes and sort of see what's happening live on TV. But easily, if we have a tornado, it's going to be in this zone right in through here, and it's moving east right where those warning rings happen to be in that same general area. Let's take a look at some of the roads around these warning rings because it's right in through here. So on the far western side now of Logan County, Deer Lick in your area, Agnes, sort of in your zone too. You've got to be hunkered down. Hollow Bill, looks like Diamond Springs. So we've got, my goodness, what is that right here? What does that street say? Willingdon?
Yes.
It's tricky, okay.
Willow Glen Road, Jackie Dukes Road, Lake Malone Road if you live there, Jason Ridge Road right over you. But yes, in the communities of Agnes, Jason, Hollow Bill, Dunmore, looks like you're getting some hail at the moment right now too, Diamond Springs, and out even toward Wolf Lick as well. Yep,
moving due east. So moving from Todd into Logan counties in Kentucky. So we'll watch this right across Lewisburg. If you're in Lewisburg and Logan County, you hear the thunder, no question about that. In time, you'll get the wind, and in time, you'll get that tornado potential, and that's why you need to be hunkered down in your safe spot. Notice the terrain. This is interesting. The terrain gets a little more bumpy in northern, and especially northeastern portions of Logan County. That means there's some tall hills. So I know there's a lot of lightning. I know we've seen some reports come in of maybe a funnel cloud. We've seen some reports come in of meteorologists possibly seeing a tornado near Crofton. This is just the danger zone to even think about venturing out. So I want to make sure everyone just stays indoors in their safe spot because you can't see what's past the hill. And it's dark. and it's just a bad idea. So leave the pictures for some other event when it makes more sense and you're not in harm's way. You're right in the heart of harm's way right now in Lewisburg, and this thing is coming on through. Super loud out there, almost continuous lightning. It probably sounds like continuous thunder if you're there. You know, if you're indoors and away from windows and not touching electrical corded appliances, so if you're on like a cell phone, smartphone, something like that, a television remote, that's not going to bother you. You're going to be okay. You know, don't run your hands under running water because if the house or the neighborhood gets struck, it could be conducted through the lines and get you. But if you'll be fine. It's just noise out there. It's just unnerving when it's continuous like this. Just incredible. You know, let's see. It looks like Weather Service, there's a view of large hail. There's a video out there of large hail as it moved through northern Christian County earlier, northern Christian County. So someone in the media in southwest Kentucky actually has a handle on some of the video out there. I wonder if we'll come across it here on News 4, but it was out there. So Christian County and just by default Todd County had some really big hail, and now it's moving this way. Lewisburg 8:55, current time is 8:44. Woodburn, potentially this rotation, Melanie's tracked it right from that warning ring into your area at 9:42. You are on the southwest side of Bowling Green. So we're talking about the heart of Warren County in another hour. That's how far it is from now, essentially. And then Plum Springs in that general area too. We've got 9:51. Pardon me, Plum Springs is here, and that looks like it's down in Woodburn, right in through there. So I don't know if it's on the northern border of Scott County and that general area, moving due east, moving right down at about 30, 35, maybe 40 miles an hour. The northern side of the storm looks less impressive, so that's good. The trend we're seeing for the last little while is for this thing to be weakening. I mean, it looks so much less impressive. If we put up the time lapse for the last 45 minutes, we still have some clusters of pink, but they're quickly diminishing. Look at that again. You can see, look good. I mean, not good in the sense of, I mean, if the storm's coming in, but it looked healthy is what I mean by that. And now it's still there, but it looks a lot less impressive. I would not be surprised if we see these warnings canceled early. We'll have to see, but now it's in the territory of northern Logan County, northwestern Logan County. That's where we have that tornado threat. Tornado threat is quickly coming to an end in Todd County. Maybe 2 more minutes, and we'll give you the all clear in Todd County. You can see that outlined area. Still, that tornado warning encompasses the far northeastern side there, but just give it 2 minutes and you'll be in good shape. But Lewisburg, you got to be hunkered down. This could be some of see these little yellow dots, orange dots. These could be some new showers developing on the collapsing wind. So we could have our gust front right here, and that could be just south of Lewisburg. And if that's the case, you know, it may choke off this thing altogether and cause this storm to weaken really fast. So we'll have to watch the trend in the next 10 minutes. We had this warning out until 9:15. We will see how long it lasts. But just a very active night in this part of the area. Just unbelievable.
Looking at rotation detector now just to see what's going on out there, because the National Weather Service up there in Kentucky, they're saying the circulation is now moving, which you're just saying, Dan, moving completely into Logan County. They're going to be canceling that tornado warning in Todd County here very shortly. It looks like they're just going to go ahead and cancel it and expire it because it looks like it's getting out of there completely, as you just mentioned. That threat's really weakening out there, moving into Logan County. But the really interesting thing about this too, Dan, is that Logan County was not included in that initial tornado watch that was issued until 1 a.m., which is interesting, which just goes to show you really need to be staying weather aware when things like this happen in counties around you too.
Yeah, no doubt. And so as the storm moves along, it's sort of getting out ahead of all that support that is causing these storms to form. That's why we see them all back, you know, into Missouri and portions of Arkansas, now moving into Tennessee. So some of that support's coming into the area. Now, this is a tornado debris detector that's just come up. So this is interesting. So let's look this gray thing. We don't see this often. And so we got to take a look at the rotation and then debris detector. Again, just as we're talking about this thing falling apart, you got to give a lot of respect when you see this thing right here. So it's got some cool colors. And then that rotation, my guess, is still rather broad. Last we checked, it was about 3.5 miles across. You know, I don't know. You know, it's right on the border of Logan County. I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, hey, this thing is dying super fast, but that's the way it looks from everything except for this. So that's the interesting part. So that's around Hollow Bill and Agnes and Dunmore, and then over toward Wolf Lick, just north of Lewisburg. New warning rings come up.
New warning ring
now,
right there.
are the uppers and lowers on? Because if so, let's turn off the uppers because we don't want to see the. We don't want to get confused by that tonight if we don't have to be, just because we're really concerned about what's happening close to the ground. In fact, you can see, so there's that debris detector, there's that warning ring, and then we've got a bunch of different options here, and it lets us just really dissect what's happening in the atmosphere. And so, yeah, so if we were to turn on the uppers, there they are, and we turn them off, we've got just lowers on, so that's good. So this is rotation, sort of like a rotation lock, or a fast wind rotating close to the ground, showing up on the radar around Lewisburg. Debris detector came out first, and then the rotation detector came out. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we get more reports from this. The storm itself doesn't look tremendously healthy right now, but it's not the time to walk away and just say, oh, I'm coming out of my closet yet. Now in Todd County, you can. Todd County and Christian County, Caldwell County, no threat for tornadoes. In fact, back toward Crofton, the weather is very good now. You still hear thunder in the distance, but the weather is just totally calmed down. The focus is northern Logan County. So I don't know if we can update that super, but I would even just get rid of that Todd County information. You know, it's up to you. But Logan County is where we really care about, right north of Lewisburg. So
we'll zoom into a couple of street names here too, and a couple of communities, so you can see that as well. So if you live over in the Wolf Lick area, let me turn that ring back on really quickly so you can see exactly where that is. Yeah. Right over Wolf Lick, Diamond Springs, Jericho. If you live there, this is going to be right over you at the moment, and that does include is it Elliman Road? I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Also over Lewisburg Road that runs right just north of Lewisburg and into the city. I'm going to turn this ring off really quickly so we can dive in and see a couple more street names. Iron Mountain Road, Coon Range Lake Road, Lewisburg Road, Red Hill Road. If you live near any of these street names, they pop out and sound familiar to you, you need to be in your safe place right now. Got
to be in your safe spot. Wolf Lick, Beachland. If you've been to Beachland, if you vacationed in Beachland, you've got to be hunkered down. If you live there, Lost City, and there's Lewisburg. So right there, and there's that warning ring right over Lewisburg again. So just cover your body from flying debris with pillows and blankets. The heart of the lightning is just north of you in Lewisburg, so you're getting an earful right now. Who knows? Maybe this is part of the hook, part of the funnel. We don't know. I mean, we've got a number of reports of funnels tonight. Perhaps this is a little debris. We just can't be sure now. We're just going off of radar data. It's dark. It's not going to get light for many hours to come, and so we're not going to have a good idea as to what really has been going on. Or this could be just part of a new set. It looks like we're getting some southeastward development. Can we broaden out a little bit?
Yeah, I was just trying to catch your attention with that because look, that just popped up here just a second ago as you were talking.
Yeah.
And we'll take a zoom out because look down here, the south of Russellville, down toward Franklin, Kentucky. You're getting some of this now too. That's just now forming over where you are. So the action's not done just yet.
Now these are just, absolutely, and that's definitely the point. And there's no lightning with these. These are just developing showers.
And here, I'm gonna turn a little lapse on this too, over the last 30 minutes or so, and we'll watch this kind of pop up here on the radar, just kind of suddenly, as you can see there.
Yep.
And again, tracking east right now too.
There's a little line that you can see initially moving this way. So this could be sort of like a little warm front, possibly just getting into a little more favorable environment, causing storms to get to Bowling Green, or at least some downpours before the main event. So don't be confused. It's going to pour in Bowling Green in 5 minutes. That has nothing to do with this. We just tracked this potentially tornado-producing storm into your area, Bowling Green, not until 9:45. It's still a good distance away. It's moving along, but not flying at record speed. And so tornado warning until 9:15, northern Logan County, all these dark red counties, these are tornado watch counties. Nashville storms later on tonight. Nashville right now, all of Middle Tennessee looks to be in the clear. How's that stuff going on in Dyersburg? So you can see west of Paris. Now, if you would flip to the Memphis radar, and we'll just get a better view of what's going on out there.
Okay.
And we'll get, well, it looks pretty similar, huh? So there's not much going on except for just showers. But we will have to watch that for sure as more energy comes in. Atmosphere gets a little more favorable. You know, you would think, oh my goodness, the sun has gone down. It's going to get cool quickly and this is all going to just go kaput. But because of our southwest wind, temperatures actually hold steady tonight. So we're going to hold in the upper 50s pretty much all night long. You may cool briefly to the mid 50s as rain comes in. This has been the storm we have watched from Missouri. So sometimes these last hours, supercell thunderstorms, and now it's approaching 65. The good news is farther west, we've got some strong storms, but they don't look as intense as that first one, at least not for the time being. And then here comes the showers, developing showers back toward Paris. And almost like the way it was designed, this is all following in that tornado watch area, all following those counties.
And the thing is, these are the storms that are going to be getting closer into the Tennessee area that we're going to be watching out for much later tonight, too. So we're not done just yet. This is really, right now, just a southern Kentucky event. But here pretty soon, we'll be watching out for some storms that'll really start to fire up, getting closer to Nashville, I'd say closer to midnight or so, right, Dan?
No question. Yeah, probably wee hours of the morning, so maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1:30, something like that. Now, if we gone back to, because this has been in southwest Kentucky, we've been leaning on the Hopkinsville radar tonight. That's the closest radar to be. You know, 4-1 real-time radar is fantastic. Farther south, but here, it's actually right on top of Hopkinsville or just down the street, so to speak. And so that's why we've been really showing this one tonight. And it just, I mean, it's a storm, but from a storm signature standpoint, when I just stand back and look at this thing, yeah, it is warranted for a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're just not seeing the same signature we saw before. How does that rotation look with rotation detector in that? You know, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if they let this tornado warning get issued again. You know, I'd be shocked if they put out a new one. They'll probably let this thing ride up the National Weather Service in Louisville. But as soon as it got into Logan County, it showed signs of weakening. I've been looking for, now here's interesting. We've got this new report from Crofton, structural damage to a porch on the south side. Fire department currently moving tree limbs off of the south side of Crofton, too. Yeah,
and I'm going to zoom out here because earlier in Crofton, if you were watching with us, that's where we had that really strong hook echo there. I'm going to put about a 45-minute lapse on there, and you can see how strong that was back there toward Crofton. I can zoom in and get that city showing. You can see how it went right over there. That's where I think we had the most action and rotation earlier, Dan. Yeah,
no doubt. And the storm looked completely different then than it does right now. It does not look as powerful for sure. Can you flip on the storm reports? And so let's just see if we see a little path back here of H's for hail. So the little yellow circles when they pop up, and then W's, there's some hails. T, so that must be I don't know if that's the media tornado report or a funnel cloud report, but that T for Crofton shows essentially just that.
Yeah, it looks like it's just showing that there's it's not letting me click on it. So hail reports there, 1 inch in diameter there, 3 miles northwest of Crofton. That was reported around 7:05.
Yeah.
Around 8 o'clock or so, same thing.
Yep.
And then
and so this is around peak intensity time for the storm, too. The rotation looked most healthy. Now it's farther east. And again, another look at this storm before we go to Tracy. You can see right over Lewisburg. Lewisburg, you got to be in your safe spot. The concern right now is in northern sections of Logan County. Their tornado warning until 9:15. Tracy?
All right, Dan Thomas, Melanie Layden, thank you very much. For all of you who are expecting to be watching network TV, just understand that these are extremely dangerous storms, and those folks who are affected by this need to be hearing about it, which is why, of course, we are on the air. We have been making calls here to emergency services in Todd County so far. No reports of any damage that they're saying, but they're out surveying right now. Nothing in Logan County that they were able to share with us on the phone. Of course, those of you who are living there may have experienced otherwise, and we're going to get that trickling in. Also want to show you a map here of the electric. This is Pennyrile Electric serving many of you in the areas that have been affected by these storms tonight. Some 500 people, 500 customers or households here without power right now inside that purple area that you're looking at. And yes, these are rural areas, but that's a lot of households. So that's a really scary situation. It is cold outside. Thankfully, it's not horrendously cold out there, but it's never comfortable, and it's always scary when you're out in the pitch black and you're hearing thunder and this lightning and these storms blowing through and not having any power. So covering that and keeping tabs on that, and we will report any further updates there. A lot of you are just able to even watch this on your phone, which is why we keep driving the importance of the News 4 app on on your phones or your surfaces so that you can take those into your safe places and be able to continue to watch this weather coverage. This is the information you do need to know if you've not downloaded this yet. Keyword WSMV. Get that app on there. You can upload your own pictures and video from there as well. But that's really the best way to stay with us live on the air, especially if things like your power goes out and you've still got your charge in your phone. You've been hearing reminders from Melanie and Dan about making sure that your all of your electronics are really charged when you know weather like this is blowing through, so that you can go wherever you need to go and still have access to us. And that's our job, to keep you safe. And that's why we continue to be wall to wall here with this coverage of these tornado warnings right now for Logan County, Kentucky, and it's right there on the edge, the northern part of our state here in Tennessee. But you're in our viewing area, and we're going to be feeling this throughout Tennessee, not as severely, they've been saying, our meteorologists, as what we've been covering here in the last couple of hours. But that is why we are still on the air and making sure that our number one thing is a public service to all of you, to make sure that you know what's going on. And you've got the best in the biz right here covering this weather for you. Also on our app, and Dan, you can ring in on this as to what they have access to, but the radar, real-time radar, is accessible to folks. So just another good reminder as to what a great tool it is to have that in their hand.
No doubt, because you can't be in front of the TV all the time, especially when a tornado is coming through or approaching your area. You've got the app, though, so you can watch us on the app, and you've got WSMV.com. So you've got the television, you can listen to it loudly, and then you can see us on the app. You can see us on WSMV.com. Hey, as we talked about, this thing is just falling apart. I would be shocked if they don't cancel this thing. We're going to hang with it a couple more volume scans unless they cancel this tornado warning. But good news for the people in Lewisburg, this is a ghost of what we had before. This is a ghost of the storm we had before, as this thing is really just trying to shut down. It's possible some of the stuff farther south is sort of interfering with what's going on within the storm. We don't know. But in the meantime, you've got to still be in that safe spot, Lewisburg, right in through here. So again, that's around the most dangerous part of the storm. The most dangerous part of the storm is also up into here because you've got all this lightning and thunder, and this just looks more unimpressive. So we've got some hail, we've got lightning, we've got multiple threats tonight. It's not so often these things come through Middle Tennessee. We talk about damaging wind, the main concern, damaging wind, the main concern. Tonight it's a little different. It's not often it happens this way, but that's tonight's setup. Hail is the main concern. There'll be some damaging wind reports, but we're getting a lot more hail reports from these storms, and there's been a lot more hail reports back in Missouri and parts of Arkansas too. Very heavy rain, of course, and so absolutely 8 inches per hour almost. You could get some brief flash flooding. I haven't seen a flash flood warning yet, and I haven't seen an aerial flood advisory either, but that they could happen because you could get easily a couple inches of rain. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they do happen where we get more rain later on tonight, especially over these areas. 8 inches per hour is what Melanie's showing you right there. So. And the heaviest of that is along the Logan County line, just north and south there. There's Morgantown. Yeah, it's just this thing is petering out pretty quickly. So excellent news. In fact, I'd say we give it a couple more minutes and then we just shut this thing down. Look at this hail. So hail still potentially the size of 1 to 2 inches. That's ping pong ball size in the black there, so 1.5 inches golf ball size. And then up and through here, it's just a big core of hail and all that lightning and thunder. So stay off the corded things. If you still have a corded phone at home, I know some of you do. You can't fool with that thing tonight. I wouldn't do dishes. That's an excuse to get out of doing dishes because that's running water, so stay out of the shower. Hopefully you can postpone your shower. These things are clipping along, so they're going to move out shortly. And this thing is just really, really diminishing. Yeah, but the lightning threat's going to stay there for a time.
And you can see there on the threats too, wind looks like it's really backed off a lot as well. Yeah. So, good news here finally for the folks who have been kind of on edge and staying in their safe place. Can't come out just yet. 9:15 is when this one expires, but it looks like this is really weakening, but still a lot of lightning as you can see here. In fact, I'll turn the lightning counter on. We kind of turn this on and off because you can see how much it takes up the radar, but still over 100 strikes of lightning in this general area here of southern Kentucky in the last little bit. So very intense storm we've had here for the past little bit. Meanwhile, back here in Nashville behind me, you can see we do have the clouds out there. It's been a very kind of quiet night for us so far. As I zoom out real quickly, while we kind of have just a little bit of a calming there in southern Kentucky, you can see, I know that we've been breaking into The Voice, into your programming tonight. I know how frustrating that can be, but this area of southern Kentucky is still in our viewing area. We've got to make sure those folks are safe there. Just because we're not seeing that rain in Tennessee just yet doesn't mean it's not coming. Look back here closer toward Union City, out toward Murray, Kentucky. You can see this is coming for you. Rain showers developing out there in West Tennessee right now, closer out toward Humboldt. You still have that tornado watch out there that does include areas in our viewing area. Paris, Tennessee, one of them, Henry County, Murray, Kentucky out there. That tornado watch goes until 1 o'clock this morning. And look at this, Dan. It looks like they've now just issued a brand new severe thunderstorm warning here, which might and actually encompass that closer toward Logan County's tornado warning until 9:30.
Good. Let's track this, and then we're going to go back to programming.
Sure.
And then we'll continue to pop back as we need to before the 10 o'clock news. Of course, we're going to gather a lot more information for the 10 o'clock news. You can see that movement. And so let's, now, since we're not dealing with a tornado threat anymore, unless this is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning.
It is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. I'm getting the details on this right now. This includes northeastern Logan County and northwestern Warren County as well until 9:30, moving east at 45 miles per hour. So just to give you an indication, this is moving a lot quicker than that tornado warning even was.
Yep, so they did not issue a tornado warning on that, so they see the sign of a tornado diminishing. Let's track that thing, and you can see, so she's taking it from the leading edge of the nasty stuff right on, and you can see it just zooming along there. Brownsville, so Bowling Green, the time has moved up. This thing has accelerated some, and now we're tracking from a different part of the storm. That's why we gave you 9:45 before, and now we give you 9:21. Plum Springs, in the same general area, about 9:25, Oakland 9:35, Smiths Grove. In your area, lightning and thunder. You'll hear thunder well before, but the rain's going to really start to come down. You'll start to maybe hear some small pings shortly after that from some hail. Park City at 9:50, 10 o'clock at Glasgow, Kentucky, and then Horse Cave at 10:03. So let's look at rotation one more time with this thing.
Sure.
Because we can't just shut it down completely until it just really shows signs of just diminishing.
Turn this lightning off for you too. Get a better picture there. And
yeah.
And
then what does that hook look like? We still show a hook there. We go back to the conventional stuff. It's good that you turn off the lightning just for a moment. And you know what? There's still a little hook out there, but it's just it's a ghost of what we had before. Tornado warning still for Logan County, Kentucky.
Oh, look at that. It's kind of matching up a little bit better here at the debris detector. So.
Yeah, it's just this storm. It's an interesting one. Again, we've had this thing on the radar since it was way back to the west over in Missouri and then across, into Kentucky, rolled all along. Paducah got hit by this, or if it wasn't this storm, it was another one nearby. But that's, I was tracking this storm, I believe, as we're around the 6 o'clock news tonight. And then now it's all the way over approaching the I-65 corridor. It just does not look healthy at all. And that's why we have this severe thunderstorm warning in effect currently. I think it's safe. I think what we're going to do, folks, is I think we're going to head back to programming. We're going to continue to gather information. We're going to make some phone calls. This storm is nothing like it was before, so some excellent news there. And we'll just get you more information before the 10 o'clock news, but also as we get on TV at 10 o'clock, reporters in the field and meteorologists in the studio, and of course, Tracy Cornett and Tom Randall. So thank you for watching our coverage here. Check us out on social media. We'll be back shortly with a live update right here on News 4.
Good job.
Man, that was...
Oh, no. Should we go back on? Well, Danielle just asked, are they going to draw this in Logan County?
Yeah, of course that would happen. It's trying to say, what that happens sometimes, so it's fine.
Yeah.
At least we can catch our breath for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just